Stop what you're doing right now and take off one shoe and one sock. Go ahead. I'll wait. Because what I'm about to share with you could be the difference between catching a serious problem this year, while it's still manageable, and losing a toe, or worse, losing a foot 5 years from now. That is not an exaggeration. That is what I watch happen when people miss the early signs. Let me tell you about Margaret. She was 68 years old, a retired schoolteacher from Columbus, Ohio. She walked every morning, 30 minutes, rain or shine. She cooked her own meals. She took her blood pressure pill and went to her checkups every year without fail. By every measure, Margaret was doing everything right. But at one visit, I asked her to take off her shoes. And there it was, a small, painless patch of dry, cracked skin on the bottom of her left heel. She had noticed it months ago. She had been putting lotion on it. Nobody had ever told her what that kind of skin change can mean. Her A1C came back at 9.2. She had been diabetic for years, and her feet had been trying to tell her the whole time. Nobody had ever explained what to look for. That conversation changed her life. I don't want you to have to wait for a moment like that. I'm Dr. Kim, I'm a cardiologist, and I've spent 25 years treating seniors whose hearts and circulation have been quietly damaged by diabetes that went undetected for far too long. I've sat across from too many patients who were told their blood work looked fine, right up until it didn't. So today, I'm going to tell you what most people never hear outside of a doctor's office. Here is the truth almost nobody explains. Diabetes after 65 is not simply a blood sugar problem. It is a circulation problem. It is a nerve problem. And long before your blood test ever raises a red flag, your feet begin to show the signs. Your feet are the furthest point from your heart. They are the first place where poor circulation and early nerve damage quietly show up, often years ahead of any diagnosis. Today I'm going to walk you through 6 specific signs that can appear on your feet long before a routine lab result catches anything. These are signs you can check right now in your own home, with no equipment and no cost. Stay with me through all 6. Because sign number 4 is the one almost nobody connects to blood sugar, and it is more common than you think. And sign number 6 is something most people write off as just getting older. It is not. Let's begin. Sign number 1, slow healing cuts or blisters. Now, everyone has nicked a foot on something or developed a blister from a new pair of shoes. That is completely normal. A small cut on a healthy foot will usually close up and look better within a few days. That is what normal healing looks like. What I want you to pay attention to is something different. I want you to ask yourself, have you had a cut, a scrape, a blister, or a sore on your foot that just seemed to linger? One that stayed open or stayed red for 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks? One that you kept putting a bandage on, hoping it would turn the corner, and it just never quite did? That is the sign. Here is why it happens. When blood sugar runs high over a long period of time, it slowly damages the small blood vessels that carry oxygen and nutrients to your skin. Think of those tiny vessels like delivery roads in a town. When the roads are damaged, supplies stop arriving on time. And when your skin stops getting what it needs, it loses its ability to repair itself quickly. A small wound that should heal in days can take weeks, or become something far more serious. The American Diabetes Association has reported that poor wound healing in the feet is one of the earliest and most consistent physical signs of uncontrolled blood sugar in older adults. Here is what I want you to do. Starting today, check your feet every evening, both the top and the bottom. Use a mirror if you need to. If you find any sore or cut that has not improved within 2 weeks, do not wait. Call your doctor and ask for a fasting glucose test and an A1C. Use those exact words. Sign number 2, numbness, tingling, or a dead feeling in the toes. Most people have felt their foot fall asleep at some point. You sit in an awkward position for too long, you stand up, and for a few seconds your foot feels strange, tingly, buzzy, a little numb. Then the feeling comes back, and everything is fine. That is normal. That is just pressure on a nerve, and it sorts itself out quickly. What I want you to notice is something else entirely. I want you to think about whether you have been feeling a tingling in your toes that has no obvious cause. A numbness that is there when you wake up in the morning. A strange, dead, or distant feeling in the front of your foot, like you are wearing a thin sock when you are not. Something that comes and goes, or something that has quietly become your new normal. If that sounds familiar, please pay close attention to what I am about to tell you. When blood sugar stays elevated for an extended period, it begins to damage the nerves themselves, not just the blood vessels. Think of your nerves like electrical cables running from your brain all the way down to your toes. Healthy cables carry signals clearly and quickly. But high blood sugar acts like slow corrosion on those cables. Over time, the signals get weaker, distorted, or stop arriving altogether. Doctors call this diabetic peripheral neuropathy. And the toes, being at the very end of the longest nerves in your body, are almost always the first place it shows up. This is not a small issue. The reason it matters so much is that when your toes go numb, you stop feeling pain the way you should. And pain is your body's alarm system. Without it, a small cut or blister can go unnoticed for days. Which brings us right back to sign number 1, and why these signs so often travel together. A study published in the journal Diabetes Care found that nearly half of people with type 2 diabetes already show measurable nerve damage in their feet at the time of diagnosis. That means the damage had been building long before anyone caught it. Here is what I want you to do right now. Sit down and close your eyes. Take the cap of a pen, or even just your fingernail, and gently press it against the bottom of each toe, one at a time. You should be able to feel light pressure clearly on every single toe. If any toe feels dull, distant, or different from the others, that is worth paying attention to. Do not dismiss it as poor circulation or cold weather or just getting older. Write it down. Tell your doctor at your next visit, or call sooner if it is happening regularly. Ask specifically about a peripheral neuropathy screening. Those words matter. Sign number 3, unusually dry, cracking skin on the heels. Dry heels are common. Especially as we get older, skin naturally loses some of its ability to stay soft and moist. Cold weather, hard floors, and open-backed shoes can all make heels dry out faster. A little roughness on the heel is something most people have dealt with at one point or another, and most people reach for a moisturizer and move on. But here is what I want you to look at more carefully. Is the dryness on your heels unusually stubborn? Does the skin look thick and almost yellowish around the edges? Are there deep cracks, what doctors call fissures, that split the skin and sometimes bleed or sting? And does it keep coming back no matter how much lotion you apply? That pattern is different. And it matters. Here is what is happening beneath the surface. Your skin has tiny sweat glands that help keep it soft and regulated. Those glands are controlled in part by the same small nerves that get damaged by high blood sugar. When those nerves stop working properly, the sweat glands slow down or stop doing their job. The skin on your heels loses its natural moisture from the inside out. No amount of lotion fully fixes a problem that is coming from within. Think of it like a plant with a damaged root. Watering the leaves helps for a moment, but it does not solve the real problem. Research published in the International Journal of Dermatology has linked autonomic nerve damage from diabetes directly to severely dry and cracked skin in the lower legs and feet of older adults. Check your heels today in good lighting. If the cracking is deep, persistent, or keeps returning, bring it up with your doctor at your very next appointment. Sign number 4, foot pain that is worse at night but gone by morning. This is the one I promised you earlier. The one almost nobody connects to blood sugar. And when I describe it, I want you to think carefully, because many people have experienced this and never once suspected what it might mean. It feels like this. You get into bed at night and within a few minutes your feet start to ache, burn, or feel like they are being pricked by dozens of tiny pins. Sometimes it is a deep, throbbing pain. Sometimes it feels like your feet are on fire. It is bad enough to disturb your sleep. But then morning comes, you get up, you start moving, and it is gone. So you tell yourself it was nothing. Maybe the mattress. Maybe you overdid it yesterday. And life moves on. Here is what is actually happening. During the day, movement, and activity keep blood flowing and give your nervous system other signals to process. But at night, when your body is still and quiet, damaged nerves have nothing to compete with. The faulty signals they send, burning, aching, stinging, become the loudest thing your brain can hear. Think of it like a noisy neighbor you can only hear once the rest of the house goes completely silent. This nighttime burning pattern is a recognized feature of diabetic nerve damage. The Journal of the American Geriatric Society has noted that nighttime foot and leg pain is significantly more common in older adults with undiagnosed or poorly managed blood sugar. If this is happening to you, please do not wait for your next routine checkup. Call your doctor this week. Tell them you are experiencing burning foot pain at night that disappears in the morning. Ask for an A1C test. Those details matter, use them. Sign number 5. Changes in foot shape, or a collapsed arch. This one surprises people. When most of us think about diabetes, we think about blood sugar numbers and diet. We do not think about the actual shape of our feet changing. But this is a real and documented sign, and in older adults, it is more common than most people realize. Here is what to look for. Have your shoes started fitting differently, even though you have not bought a new pair? Does one foot look flatter than it used to when you stand up? Is there a new bump on the side or top of your foot that was not there before? Do you notice swelling in one foot that does not match the other? These are not random changes. These are structural changes, and they deserve your attention. To understand why this happens, you need to know that your foot is held together by a system of tendons, ligaments, and small muscles. These tissues do not just work mechanically. They depend on healthy nerves to stay active and properly tensioned. When diabetic nerve damage sets in, some of those muscles quietly weaken without you ever feeling it happen. Over time, the structure they were holding up begins to shift. The arch can flatten. The joints can move out of their normal position. In more advanced cases, this leads to a condition called Charcot foot, where the bones of the foot actually begin to break down and reshape themselves, often with very little pain, because the nerves that would have signaled the pain are already too damaged to do their job. That last part is important. The absence of pain does not mean the absence of damage. In diabetic foot disease, no pain can actually be the most dangerous situation of all. A report from the American College of Foot and Ankle Surgeons found that Charcot foot is one of the most frequently missed complications of diabetes in adults over 60. Largely because it progresses quietly and is often mistaken for a sprain or simple swelling. Here is what I want you to do. Stand on a hard floor in bare feet and look down. Then ask someone you trust to look at your feet from behind, while you stand still. A healthy arch lifts slightly off the ground. If one or both feet look completely flat, or if the shape of your foot has changed in any way over the past year or two, bring it up with your doctor. Ask to be referred to a podiatrist, a foot specialist, for a full structural assessment. Do not assume a change in foot shape is just aging or weight. It may be. Sign number 6. Hairless patches on the feet or lower legs. This is the one hiding in plain sight. And when I tell you what it means, I think you will understand immediately why so many people miss it for years. Look down at your lower legs and the tops of your feet right now. Do you see patches of skin where the hair has thinned out or stopped growing completely? Most people notice this and think nothing of it. They assume it is just age. They assume hair naturally thins out on the legs over time. And sometimes that is true. But there is a specific pattern connected to poor circulation that is worth knowing about, and it looks almost identical to what most people write off as normal aging. Here is what is happening. Hair follicles need a steady supply of blood to stay active and keep producing hair. When circulation in the lower legs and feet becomes compromised, which happens gradually and silently when blood sugar runs high over many years, those follicles simply stop receiving enough oxygen and nutrients to do their job. They go quiet. The hair stops growing. The skin in that area can also start to look shinier and feel cooler to the touch than the skin higher up on your leg. Research published in the journal Circulation has linked hair loss on the lower legs and feet directly to peripheral arterial disease, a condition that occurs at significantly higher rates in people with diabetes, particularly adults over 65. Here is what I want you to do today. Run your hand along your lower leg and the top of your foot. Compare both legs. If one area feels noticeably smoother, cooler, or more hairless than you remember, or than the other leg, tell your doctor. Ask specifically about peripheral arterial disease and request an ankle brachial index test. That one simple, painless test could tell you a great deal about what is happening with your circulation right now. Let me bring all of this together for you. Sign number 1. Slow healing cuts or blisters. Any wound on your foot that takes longer than 2 weeks to close is a sign that your blood supply may not be delivering what your skin needs to repair itself. Sign number 2. Numbness, tingling, or a dead feeling in the toes. A persistent or recurring loss of sensation in your toes is one of the earliest signs that high blood sugar has begun to damage your nerves. Sign number 3. Unusually dry, cracking skin on the heels. Deep, stubborn cracks that keep coming back despite regular moisturizing can signal that the nerves controlling your sweat glands have already been affected. Sign number 4. Foot pain that is worse at night but gone by morning. That burning, aching, or prickling feeling that wakes you up and disappears by daylight is your damaged nerves speaking at their loudest, in the only moment quiet enough to hear them. Sign number 5. Changes in foot shape or a collapsed arch. When nerves weaken the muscles that hold your foot structure in place, the shape of your foot itself begins to shift in ways that shoes and floors will reveal before any blood test does. Sign number 6. Hairless patches on the feet or lower legs. Smooth, cool, hair-free skin on your lower legs is your circulation quietly stepping back from the areas it can no longer fully reach. 6 signs. All of them visible. All of them checkable at home, tonight for free. Each one of these is your body's early warning system, often showing up years before any lab result would catch the problem. Your body has been trying to tell you something. Now you know how to listen. Here is what I want you to do tonight. Just one thing. When you get home, or right after this video if you are already there, sit down somewhere with good lighting. Take off both socks. And spend 2 minutes looking at your feet. Really looking at them. Possibly for the first time in a long time. Start at your heels. Check for deep cracks or skin that looks thickened and dry no matter what you do. Move to the arches. Stand up for a moment and notice whether one or both feet look flatter than they used to. Check the tops of your feet and your lower legs for patches where the hair has thinned or disappeared. Look between your toes and along the sole for any cut, blister, or sore that has been slow to heal. Then sit back down, close your eyes, and press gently on each toe with your fingernail. You should feel every single one clearly and equally. If even one of these signs sounds familiar, if even one thing you see or feel tonight matches what we talked about, I want you to call your doctor tomorrow morning. Not next week. Tomorrow. When you call, use these exact words. I would like to request a fasting glucose test and an A1C test. You do not need to explain everything. Just ask for those 2 tests by name. A good doctor will take it from there. You have spent decades showing up for the people you love. You have taken care of children, partners, parents, friends, neighbors. You have put yourself last more times than anyone could count. It is time to take care of you. You have worked too hard and come too far to let something manageable slip through simply because nobody told you what to look for. Now you know. If this video helped you today, I want to ask you to do 2 things before you close it. First, share it right now and tag one person you love who is over 60. A parent, a sibling, a close friend, a neighbor. You may be putting information in their hands that they genuinely need, and do not yet know they need. That simple act of sharing could matter more than you realize. Second, subscribe to this channel. Every week I post the kind of honest, practical health information I share with my own patients, things that often never make it outside of a doctor's office. Subscribe, and bring someone you love along with you. And one final word before I go. Everything I shared with you today is based on published medical research and is intended for general health education. It is not a substitute for personal medical advice, and every person's situation is different. Please speak with your own doctor before making any changes to your medications, your diet, or your daily routine. I am Dr. Kim. Take care of your body. It is the only one you have. and it is worth fighting for. I will see you in the next one.